Hello everyone. There's been a delay since we last spoke, and I think this is a good time of year to share the message of taking stock and understanding sometimes when things and life, circumstances beyond your control affect, despite your best intentions, what you are wanting to achieve. And that certainly has been the case for me over the last couple of weeks, and sometimes that's just okay. That's never going to be smooth sailing. And this brings me to my point of the episode today, which is the science behind goal setting. And in this case, I had a goal to release another podcast, essentially another 2, and for circumstances out of my control, because of circumstances out of my control, it hasn't happened. Yet, this is the art of perseverance and the art of the value of goal setting, in that progress is non-linear, and we have to put systems in place to be as resilient as possible to get back on the horse and to sometimes adapt, because this episode is an adaptation. And without testing the waters, without trying something different and adapting to the existing circumstances, you might stumble across a whole new avenue that you otherwise wouldn't have considered to explore had it not been for those unforeseen circumstances. So, today we're talking about goal setting, and it's just me. It's just you and I today, and I thought this is a great opportunity to look at the science behind goal setting and how we can apply various methods of goal setting to maximize our chances when it comes to realizing these goals. So, as with anything, it's good to start at the beginning. So, let's start by defining what a goal exactly is. So, I love this definition. So, a goal is a level of performance proficiency that we wish to attain, usually within a specified time period. Thus, goal setting is first and foremost a discrepancy creating process, in that the goal creates constructive discontent with our present performance. For example, if people discover that their performance is below the goal that has been set, countless studies show that, given commitment to the goal, they are likely to increase their effort or change their strategy in order to attain it. The core premise of goal-setting theory, on which those studies have been conducted, is that goal-oriented action is an essential aspect of human life. Einstein was fond of saying, "Knowledge of what is does not open the door to what should be." So what stands out to me here is the creative construct of discontent with our present performance. So that alludes to the environment in the self that is necessary to want to create change and for that to happen over a period of time. And what that means is your discomfort of your current circumstances relative to your expectations exceeds the discomfort of the effort required to meet your goal or target. I'll repeat that. The discomfort of your current circumstances relative to your expectations exceeds the discomfort of the effort required to meet your target. So if you're in a position, if that sounds like you, if you're unhappy with an area in your life. Perhaps life is multifaceted, so perhaps there's many areas in your life where you've succeeded and you've boomed during 2023. But as in most people who set New Year's resolutions and goals, the primary and most popular reason is for health issues. So if you're looking to get into shape, if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to perhaps take your diabetes a bit more seriously, and you change your lifestyle, you're like most other people who set goals. But that could have come, your booming in other areas of your life could have come at the expense of your health. And now let's say you are wanting to take that into your own hands, and the discomfort of how you're feeling about yourself and your health now is greater. It exceeds the discomfort that you know is going to be in your future when it comes to being organized, meal prepping, and obviously exercising. So let's take a look at some research on the popularity of goals and also New Year's resolutions. So over 40% of people in America make New Year's resolutions. If you're one of those 40%, congratulations, because that means that you're already ahead of the majority. Research conclusively proves that people who set goals are more successful, even more so when they are written down. So, how successful are you when it comes to your goal setting? Other research, such as a team of researchers from the University of Scranton, followed 200 people who made New Year's resolutions over a 2-year period. 72% found themselves still at it and ahead of the game and on target for their goals and their New Year's resolutions for the first week. So already 28% dropout after the first week. After a month, 64% reported success, and then that dropped to 50% in 3 months' time, followed by 46% success rate after 6 months. At the end of the 2-year period, 19% considered themselves subjectively successful in reaching their goals. So how can we put tools in place to maximize that so that you are not 19% likely to achieve your goals, that we can bump that up as much as we possibly can? Another extensive study, one of the largest scale studies on New Year's resolutions, was done by Martin Oscarson et al. In December 2020, and they investigated the resolutions that people make when they are free to formulate them, and whether there are differing resolutions success rates as to whether or not they're administered with information and exercises on effective goal setting. So 1,066 participants from the general public were randomized and selected and put into 3 different groups: an active group, some support, and then extended support. So the active control group, basically they just did their own thing, and then you had some support and then extended. So some meaning some direction and some correspondence via emails, for example, every so often, and then the extended support would be the same but just on a more regular basis, more or less. And what they found was the 1-year follow-up. This study was done in accordance with physical health, weight loss, and eating habits goals. Firstly, at the 1-year follow-up, 50% of the responders considered themselves successful in sustaining their resolutions, which is pretty good, all things considered. Here's what the interesting thing is. They found that the participants who had approach-oriented goals were significantly more successful than those who had avoidance-oriented goals. So, this is why this is crucial, because it comes to the first part of the SMART principle. So, SMART being your goal setting must be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and also time-bound. Okay, so goal setting loves a good acronym, and you're going to hear about a couple of others before we're done with this episode. But to that point of being avoidance oriented, what that means is how you frame something and how you word it is crucial, because where your focus goes, energy flows. All right, that's a little bit of the law of attraction at play. So let me give you an example. Let's take something as simple as weight loss. I would like to lose 15 kgs, might be the goal. Let's say you're a 95 kg person. I would reframe that, and I would say, I'd like to weigh 80. Your focus should be on what you're wanting to achieve, not what you're wanting to lose. Similarly, if you say, I'm going to cut out all carbs, all fizzy drinks, and all chocolates. That is a negative way of framing something, because it is viewed as a perceived threat. So if you perceive a goal as a threat, oh no, I can't eat chocolate, I can't have alcohol, I can't have a fizzy drink, you're less likely to stick to the goal. And this has been proven by a study in Israel where people view a goal as threatening. So in this case, it was framed as don't mess up more than 3 of the 15 problems. It was a problem-solving exercise. Their performance dropped in comparison to when the solution was to frame it positively, to say and to word it, find the answer to 12 or more of these 15 issues. That's fundamental. It's something so simple, yet it makes such a big difference, not only to goal setting, but to everything in your life. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. You might say then, if you are looking to cut out fizzy drinks, sugars and sweets, a more constructive way of wording that, creating a behavior-based goal, would be drink 2 liters of water a day and have 5 servings or portions of fruit and vegetables every day. Now that's something that's constructive, because if you drink more water, you're less likely to get dehydrated, you're less likely to crave the fizzy drink. If you eat enough fruit and vegetables, you're going to have a vitamin and mineral rich diet, your blood sugar is going to stabilize, and you're going to be less likely to crave those sugary, high GI sweeties. Which leads me into my next point, which is how do we continue to increase the likelihood of achieving our goals? And that could be through improving your self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is defined as an individual's belief in his or her capacity to execute behaviors necessary to produce a specific performance or result. So you can markedly improve your self-efficiency by changing any dysfunctional self-talk. So that again moves away from focusing on what you don't want to focusing on what you do want. So things like, I know I can do this, I've got this. Even something as simple as an innocent, self-deprecating joke or disparaging comment in the form of humor is not ideal. It might get a positive result in terms of a response from the people that you're speaking with, but I don't think I can do this. I'm too old for this. It just doesn't set you in the best possible frame of mind to achieve what you're wanting to achieve. And this is again been backed by research. So Gary Latham and a couple of other scientists, Gary Latham is one of the fathers of goal setting theory, and they provided training on positive self-talk to middle-aged women in Turkey. And these women in Turkey had a problem. They were very doubtful and despondent about their employment prospects. So they had to overcome low self-efficacy when it came to finding a job. So what they did is they turned around their dysfunctional self-talk into something positive. So as an example, what the women were asking were questions such as the following: there are many unemployed people who are young and educated in this country. Why would somebody hire me instead? And they turned that around into, my age means that I have a lot of experience, which helps me to effectively solve problems in the workplace and have a level of expertise that others without that experience haven't yet acquired. Now, it seems simple, but those that received this training had higher job search self-efficacy, and they were twice as likely to secure employment during the following year and be more satisfied in their new job compared to those that did not receive the training in functional self-talk. That is unbelievable results. Twice as likely to get a job, and then off the back of that, enjoy that job. Be grateful for that job. So it improved their quality of life tremendously. Moving on to how we can continue to maximize our chances of attaining our goals is something called an implementation intentions. It's a plan for when things go wrong. So there's 3 types of plans that you have at your disposal in these implementation intentions. You've got if-then plans. If situation X arises, then I will enact response Y, as an example. You've got when-then plans. When X occurs, I will respond by doing Y. Then I will respond by doing Y. And after-then plans, which is a form of habit stacking, which has been popularized by James Clear in the absolutely incredible book, Atomic Habits. After-then plans, after X, I will do Y. So you're stacking one habit on top of the other, which means that this enactment of behavioral goals, aka habits, is going to be your default when it comes to your day-to-day behavior. And your day-to-day behavior is what is going to get you to your goals, or what is going to get you to that place of discomfort when you're not happy with where things are at the moment. So ask yourself that. Again, I'll go back to the popular New Year's resolution or goal at the start of most people's years, which is to get their health back on track. Let's use a when-then plan. When we have a family function, I will respond by reducing my portion size by 20% and dishing up more salad and less processed food. So what that means is there's no perfect road to your goal. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be times when you have to sit back and look at the week and say, I'm okay with not making any progress this week. Because under normal circumstances, you would regress. Just like with this episode, I had to be okay with skipping a week. And I had 2 choices to make. I could ruminate on the fact that I didn't achieve what I'd set out to achieve, which is an episode a week, in which case it would be quite excusable for me to call it a day, wrap it up for 2023, and create the podcast as having seasons, and then give myself a 3-week break, and then we start off with season 2 in the middle of January. But no, I had a when-then plan. So that would be a good example of a when-then plan. An after-then plan, which is the habit stacking, is taking something and building it off an already automatic habit. So you might say, let's say, for example, you are wanting to get your step count up because you are averaging 3,000 steps a day and you're just not burning enough calories outside of your workouts if you're doing workouts. But one of your goals is to maybe increase your steps to 5,000 steps a day as opposed to 3,000. So an after then plan would be, after I eat lunch each day from 12 to 12:30, I will walk for the remaining 15 minutes, ideally somewhere outside and with my phone on flight mode. Bang, there you go. There's your after then plan. All of a sudden you start to become lost if you don't have those two behaviors wrapped into one. It's like going to a movie and not having a Coke and a popcorn. Many people just order popcorn because it's a movie. It's that association. It is implementation intentions. It's an after then plan that you've built in unknowingly. It's a habit stack. So ask yourself where you can implement this in your day-to-day life. You can do more than one, of course. You can put it in the mornings, in the afternoons, in the evenings. But it's a good place to start. Here's a very valuable concept that has dramatically improved people's chances of achieving their goals, and it's called mental contrasting. So it's going to sound confusing because I've spoken about the importance of being positive, but at the same time you have to be realistic. And the realism is that things are not going to always go according to plan. So what is going to happen when they don't? And we're also told to not focus on our negative feelings, but you have to confront your negative feelings in order to move past them. And that's what mental contrasting is. So as an example, just to take you back, there's a Harvard Medical School professor, Susan David, who discusses the issues with repressing negative feelings, which might actually amplify them. Okay, so there's a dragon under the carpet, and he's trying to pop his head out, and you're just pulling the rug over, and you're pushing him down. You're just sitting on that carpet, and you just don't want to deal with that. You're repressing it. The dragon's still there. You know it. But what happens is the dragon gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually, no matter how you sit and spread yourself over that rug, that dragon is going to be strong enough to get out from underneath that rug, and then perhaps, unfortunately, it might be too big to control. So you have to confront these negative feelings about your current situation or about yourself for you to move forward. Secondly, New York professor Gabriel Ottinger warns that without confronting the obstacles we face and planning how to overcome them, we won't make lasting progress. So, positive thinking, according to her, rewards us prematurely. Okay? So her approach is another acronym, WOOP, W-O-O-P, combining wish and outcome with obstacle and plan. WOOP, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. So this has become a healthier way, I would say, a more balanced view on how to approach your goals. You are already assuming that you're going to come up against obstacles, and you're putting plans in place in conjunction with your positivity that you are going to overcome whatever it is that you have to overcome. And this was done in a diabetes self-management study, mental contrasting. And these diabetes patients, not only diabetes patients, many people fail to adhere to self-managing activities, such as losing weight. So this study tested the efficacy of this self-regulation strategy, mental contrasting, in promoting self-management in these diabetes patients, type 2. There's 64 of them. Half were assigned to a positive indulgent condition, which means that they were fantasizing about positive outcomes of losing weight. So very positive, you're fantasizing, you're visualizing the positive outcomes of losing weight, what you might look like at the end of that. And the other half were assigned to a mental contrasting condition. So there you took the fantasizing and the visualization of the positive outcomes, and you then contrasted that immediately with the obstacles in the present reality. So you confronted both. You visualized, you were clear on what you want, but at the same time you brought yourself back to reality, and you became acutely aware of the obstacles that stand in your way, thus being more likely to confront them and to succeed. The results showed that 1 month later, participants in the mental contrasting condition group had improved their diabetes self-management and were more likely to do so in the future. So that's absolutely crucial, guys. And when I come back to a level of difficulty, so the A in SMART is achievable. A goal must be achievable. And here's how you know what achievable means. You have to go back, and it's perhaps the ultimate expression of humility is you have to sit with yourself and you have to think of just exactly how bad things have got. So what is the lowest common denominator for performance that you are going to be able to achieve? So starting a whole new diet might be steps that are way too far. That goal might be massive, and in your mind, too frightening and too overwhelming. So perhaps you need to reconsider setting something more achievable, which might be to make sure that in the first 2 months of the year, you get your breakfasts healthy. That, I think, at the end of the year, next year, you'll probably find that that would have snowballed into something far more constructive and ongoing and sustainable. And in doing so, you would probably find yourself in a better, healthier place come the end of next year. There's a wonderful study called 85% Rule for Optimal Learning by Robert Wilson in the Nature.com journal. And when it comes to learning, they figured out that the optimal failure rate for something new, learning a new skill or learning something different, is about 15%. So you need to be able to perform the task correctly 85% of the time. That's like the sweet spot. Now it's not the exact number. So you can probably err between 20 and 15%. I would say 10% too little, then the exercise becomes too easy. You haven't set a goal that's hard enough. So use that as your yardstick when it comes to setting your goals for next year. It's great to dream big. Have your dream big. Have it up there as to something like, ask yourself the question, what would happen next year that if I had to do it, it would absolutely blow my mind. Have that there, by all means, but have these smaller goals that are built towards creating a better self-image and increasing your likelihood for success that will, in turn, build momentum where you can take on those bigger goals. Another study with this mental contrasting, which they deemed it to be foreshadowing. So foreshadowing failure resulted in nearly doubling of the successful pursuit of a goal. So consider that contrast between reality and where you'd like to be. And lastly, if I can leave you with something that James Clear said, is ask yourself, what type of person do you want to be? And what characteristics does that person embody? So maybe if you're, again, moving on to something healthy, ask yourself the question, what would a healthy person do? Would a healthy person turn down that boozy executive lunch? Would that person order a burger with deep fried chips, or would they order a chicken salad? The list goes on and on. The sooner you start to identify and to see yourself as a healthy person, the sooner you'll start to make decisions that healthy people make. Two more things before we sign off for today. There's a couple of threats to goal setting. Paradoxically, attaining your goal, you've achieved your goal, you've done it. But be aware that that can lead to complacency. If you've achieved goals in the past, I've been guilty of this, you tend to get complacent. Number two, there tends to be a dogged reliance on the system you use to achieve the initial goal, which sometimes can lead to a failure to adapt. So the world is moving, it's changing. The strategy that you employed that got you to your goal last year might not work this year. You might have to adapt. Be like water. Adapt. And finally, avoid tying your self-esteem to the goal. So remove yourself. Think of yourself in the third person almost. If you tie your self-esteem to your goal, that is going to be one hell of an emotional roller coaster, and you are not likely to achieve your goal at all. It's too much pressure. It's too much expectation. Lastly, I'll leave you with a quote from Balthasar Gracian, the 17th century Spanish writer and philosopher. And he said, "The truth is generally seen and rarely heard." So I wish you all the best in the new year. And I wish that and I hope that you find your truth. And I hope that whatever it is that you want for yourself, that truth is seen throughout 2024. And I will chat to you in the new year. As always, like, share, subscribe, and enjoy, everybody.